when somebody is around you, do they make your energy rise or do they make your energy fall or do they suck the energy out? Pay attention to that and surround yourself with people that when you're around them, you get fired up to go do more, be more, and achieve more. Those are the people that you want to surround yourself with. Today's conversation is all about energy, how to keep it, how to protect it, how not to lose it. And this is so important because there's only so much of you to go around and there's only so much energy that you can possibly have. And so I want to make sure that we don't deplete our energy throughout the day. I want to make sure that we can be the most effective that we can possibly be throughout the day. And I want to make sure that we don't just give it away, right? If you think about it, you look at car. What does a car do? A car will have to go to the gas station to get what? Gasoline. Why? That is energy for the car. You look at, SDG&E. I'm in San Diego, so our gas and electric is SDG&E. Guess what I get a bill for every single month to our houses? I get a bill for what? Gas and electric. What are they doing? They are charging me for what? Energy. So every other business in the world charges for energy. Why in the world are you just giving yours away and throwing yours away? That doesn't make any sense. Your energy is invaluable. Your energy is important. You can't just throw it away. You can't just let it fall by the wayside. You have to protect it and you have to be smart with it. Think about it like this. What if all of a sudden you give all of your energy to something that doesn't matter and then later in the day there's actually something that matters? Now all of a sudden you're showing up to what actually matters with less energy, meaning you are not as effective as you could be. So what I want to do is I want to give you 7 points today on how to improve your energy, how to protect your energy. So let's dive in. Number 1, learn to leverage. Learn to leverage. Not everything requires you. And this is so hard for me to say because I'm a control freak. And so I like to have my hands in absolute everything. And I deploy my energy in all different directions because I'm a control freak. And it's something that I've had to learn to let go of. I've had to learn to delegate. I've had to learn to trust others to come alongside me and help me. I've had to learn to hire out areas of weakness. And I've also had to learn to just hire out things that shouldn't require my time. If something can be done to 70% effectiveness as you, hire it out or have somebody do it. But as I was growing my business, this was something that I didn't want to do, but my wife, just being as incredible as she is, she always pushed me and she always challenged me to hire staff, hire assistants, hire cleaning people, hire people to cook, hire everything that you can, everything based off what your budget can afford right now. Hire it to buy back your energy so your energy is not being wasted on doing laundry or cooking dinner or cleaning your house. Hire those things out so you have more energy going into the week, more energy going into the rest of the day. I see people all the time and say, well, Matt, I don't hire people to clean or I don't hire people to cook or I don't hire people to do all these different things. And so they spend all this energy on it. Do you know one of the reasons that I wanted to become successful? So I never had to fold another piece of laundry ever again because it was energy draining for me. I hated it. I didn't enjoy it. It depleted me. It was frustrating, right? Some people might love it. For me, it drove me nuts. And so the moment I was smart enough to think, wow, I should hire somebody to do this, not only did I buy back hours of my calendar, right? But I also bought back a lot of energy so I can be more effective at other things that actually move the needle of our business, of our life, and actually helped us get to another level. So number 1, you have to be willing to leverage. You have to be willing to delegate to protect your energy. Number 2, not everything requires 100% of you. Not everything requires 100% of you. I think oftentimes we give 100% to things that don't matter. We give all of our energy to things that really don't matter. So let's say you have a battery power of 100%, and that 100% needed to be used wisely throughout the day. Just like your phone. Your phone has 100% battery, and depending on how much you use it, that battery depletes itself. Well, if you use your phone for stupid things, you could deplete your entire battery, and then when you actually have something useful to do on your phone, you can't do it because there's no more juice. It died. It's the same thing with you. If you are giving 100% of your energy to a small task or a task that doesn't actually matter, once again, you're depleting yourself. Let me tell you a quick story. I remember years ago, and this is when it all shook for me. There's a great friend of mine, Mario Bayona, and I'm coming up in the industry, and Mario Bayona, we fly him in to our office to come speak and train all of our agents. And Mario is literally on stage speaking for 3 hours. And there was a little break in the middle. And Mario goes to my office and he's laying on the couch. And he said, "Hey, Matt, can we turn off the lights? I'm going to lay on the couch." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely, man. Are you okay?" He's like, "Do you need anything? Like, are you not feeling well? Are you okay?" He said, "No, I'm perfectly fine. I'm just trying to conserve my energy because I know I got to go train for another 3 hours. And so if I'm going to conserve my energy, I want to close my eyes for a second. I want to make sure I'm not talking to everybody, because if I spend all my time talking to the crowd versus relaxing, I'm not going to be as effective when I go to train all of your agents here in the back 3 hours." And so that was a wake up for me, because it made me look at my day and say, "Oh my goodness, I give 100% to things that don't matter, or things that don't matter that much." And I'm not saying don't give your best, but what I am saying is we got to be wise. We got to be wise about how we're spending our time. We got to be wise about how we're spending our energy, because you could be depleting it on things that don't actually move the needle of your life, versus conserving it because you understand that there's more important things that you got to do throughout the day. So one last, just kind of analogy here until I go to the next point. Let's say you have a 9 o'clock, a 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock. And let's just say these are appointments. And let's say these appointments are not the most important appointments in the world. Do you need to show up with all the energy in the world, knowing that there might be an appointment at 2 o'clock that's going to require every ounce of you? No, it might make sense to give 70% to those meetings. So when you show up to the 2 o'clock that's life changing, you can bring 100% of you. And I know what a lot of people might say, "Well, Matt, why don't you just give 100% to every single appointment?" Because then you run out of juice. Then you're not as effective. Then you may not have much left in your vocal boxes, like your voice might run out, and whatever it might be, you just run out of juice. You got to conserve your energy. It's very, very important. So that's number 2. Number 3, learn to say no. Learn to say no. There are things that you're going to want to say yes to, but if you say yes to them, you're going to run out of energy going into the next week. You're going to run out of energy for the month. I'll give you a great example. I got invited to a dinner tonight, and I love the people that are going to be at that dinner. But I said no to the dinner. Why? Because transparently, I'm exhausted right now. I threw an event for 700 plus agents last week, didn't sleep a lot, and I went right into a crazy schedule, and I could just feel myself burning at both ends right now. I'm just being as transparent as I possibly can be with you right now. And so I can either go to this dinner with people that I love and wake up extra exhausted tomorrow, or I could be smart about my energy, not giving it away this evening. So that way tomorrow I can wake up rejuvenated and get right back to executing the way that I want to execute. So you have to be willing to say no. You don't have to say yes to everything. Throughout the years, I worked 7 days a week for a long period of time. And transparently, I have mixed feelings about this, because I look at my schedule now and I try to take Sundays off. On Sundays, where it's just me and my family and going to church, the whole 9 yards. But to get our business to where it is, I work 7 days a week, which is why I have mixed feelings with it. I feel like I'm more effective going into the week knowing I took Sunday off to be with my family than me working 7 days a week. And so I've learned to almost get my energy back on a Sunday. So when I show up on Monday, I'm coming out firing. I'm coming out after it. And so on those Sundays, we get invited to places all the time. We have to learn to say no. There's been times where we get invited places. I say, "Babe, I want to go. I want to spend time with these people, but I just want to spend time with you and the girls. Let's just be here. Let's say no to that. I don't want to waste my energy on that. I want my girls to get all my energy today. And if I'm having to have all these other conversations, my girls aren't getting my best energy, and that's not fair to them." And so once again, it's conserving your energy. So important. Last thing on this, before I go into the next one, is it's not just the energy you give to business, it's the energy that you give to everything. And I think this is important. For me, if I give 100% in business, there is no excuse for me not to give 100% at home. There's no excuse for me not to give 100% to my daughters. There's no excuse for me not to give 100% to my wife. Why? Because at the end of the day, my wife and my daughters matter more than my business, as much as I love my business. So if I'm going to show up and give my absolute best to business, then as a man, I need to show up and give my absolute best as a husband and as a dad. And I just think it's so important. I think a lot of people that go into business, they have this twisted. They give 100% in business and then they don't play with their kids at night, or they give 100% in business and they're on edge when it comes to communicating with their spouse. And I just don't believe in that. If you're going to give your best and you're going to conserve your energy, make sure the people that deserve it actually get it. Number 4, avoid lifestyle inflation. Matt, what does that mean? What that means is avoid making stupid financial decisions. One of the fastest ways to get rid of your energy is financial stress. One of the fastest ways to create financial stress is a lack of intelligence when it comes to how you spend your money and how you use your money. The better you are financially, the less stress you experience. The less stress you experience, the better energy you're going to have. People say, Matt, you have a big business now. You have you've built this incredible organization. Like, how come you have so much energy when you have more people counting on you than ever before? Transparently, it's because I don't have any financial stress, not a single ounce, not one worry. And here's the deal. I have a lot of energy now, even though our business is bigger, but I had a lot of energy back then because I've always been smart with my money. I've always saved my money. I've always stacked my money. So as everyone else went and started buying watches and cars and all these flashy things, I stacked so that way I had a level of peace and I had less stress. And that allowed me to be more effective in the way that I led people and in the way that I showed up to every single day. So if you allow lifestyle inflation to take over and you start spending money on things just to keep up with the Joneses and you become financially stressed, you will have less energy, you will sleep worse, which means that you will not be as effective. Number 5, pay attention to your sleep quality. I know this sounds very silly, especially coming from me, but pay attention to your sleep quality. What most people do not know about me is I obsess about my sleep. I mean, I don't sleep 8 hours. I don't have 8 hours of sleep, just being transparent. But I obsess about my sleep quality, meaning that I make sure that the temperature in the room is 68 degrees. I make sure that we have nice sheets. I've invested in a nice bed that regulates my temperature. I make sure there's not a single ounce of light in the room because even a red dot on a TV screen that's in your room can affect your sleep. I make sure that I turn my phone on airplane mode so that way I don't have all the signal coming into my room and affecting my sleep patterns. All of these things I pay attention to. I pay attention to when I go to bed. I pay attention to the blue light on my screen, and I make sure that my screen coloring adjusts a certain amount of time before bed so that way it's not interfering with the way that I sleep. The quality of your sleep matters. If you sleep with quality, right, you show up to the next day with better energy. I take magnesium before I go to bed. I make sure that I'm hydrated, not so that way I wake up all night, but so that way my body is hydrated. The first thing I do when I wake up is I drink a whole bunch of water. I am religious about my sleep because I realize that my sleep is a way that I get to rejuvenate myself. My sleep is how I heal. My sleep is how I become better going into the next day. It's where you get the healing. It's where you get re-energized. And so it's the reason why you've maybe been tired and you took an hour nap and you woke up and you felt better. Well, why? Because you gave your body the rest that it needs. If you were busting your butt as an entrepreneur, if you were busting your butt as a business person and as a leader, you are naturally going to be drained. So if you are not paying attention to your sleep quality, you're going to go to bed drained and you're going to wake up drained. None of that helps you in any way, shape, or form. So I'm very, very religious about making sure the quality of my sleep is there. And if I notice the quality of my sleep is off, I'll do something about it. Great example. The last couple of days, I realized that my quality of sleep was off. So I started paying attention, well, why is that? And I realized that my caffeine intake after a certain time was affecting my sleep. So literally yesterday, I had too much caffeine after 3 p.m. So before I went to bed, I went and I saunaed to try to sweat as much of it out of me as I possibly could. And then I went to bed. Why? Because I was paying attention to my sleep because I wanted to wake up today with more energy so I could be more effective. So once again, pay attention to your sleep. Number 6, remove negative people out of your life. Remove energy vampires out of your life. Remove people that steal your energy. I don't know if you've ever heard this song by Drake. I got energy, got a lot of energy. You got to remove people out of your life that are energy vampires. They will crush your spirit. They will crush your energy. They will crush your excitement. Do you know those people that when you're in a room with them, you almost have to keep the energy up because they bring nothing to the table? That's an energy vampire. They might not even be a negative person, but their energy sucks all the energy out of the room. And so if you want to make sure that you have quality energy, you got to remove people around you that don't have quality energy, that suck out all of your energy, because these people are hurting your long-term growth and your short-term development. You got to remove people that are energy drainers, people who are negative, people that show up to the room and they're just slouching and you can tell they're exhausted or they have a negative comment for every positive situation, whatever it might be. You know who I'm talking about. When somebody is around you, do they make your energy rise or do they make your energy fall or do they suck the energy out? Pay attention to that and surround yourself with people that when you're around them, you get fired up to go do more, be more, and achieve more. Those are the people that you want to surround yourself with. Last but not least, number 7, allow environments to help with your energy. One thing that I'm very big on is making sure that I insert myself into the right environments where the environment helps cultivate my energy. Part of that is the teams you build around you. Part of that is the people you allow around you, which I just talked about a second ago. But also part of that is just the overall atmosphere and culture. I'll give you a great example. I hold dinners at my house all the time for our organization. And when I hold these dinners, one thing that's very, very important is I always make sure a certain playlist of music is playing. Well, why is that? Because when people come into our house, when people come into our environment and the lighting is right and the energy is right, well, then guess what happens, right? Naturally, the energy of those coming into our house changes. Very, very important. I'll give you another analogy here. I held an event last week for about 700 of our agents. And when I held that event, I made sure that the beginning half of the day, right, we had a little bit darker lighting. But by the end of the day, I made sure that we had all the lights on in the room. Why? Because I know that lighting affects people's energy. And so in the afternoon, when people are getting more tired, the lights dim are going to lead to people falling asleep, becoming more relaxed, and not paying attention, which is not good. Another thing that I paid attention to is natural lighting. So right now, I'm in the process of buying a building. And the most important thing to me when it comes to buying this building is how much natural light is coming into the office building. Well, why is that? Because natural light breeds energy, and fake light, like LEDs or whatever it is, doesn't help with the energy. So I wanted as much natural light as humanly possible to be flowing into the building. So that way the energy in the environment, the energy in the office is significant, which means in order to have quality natural light, we got to look at location. Is it up on a hill or is it in a valley? If it's in a valley, the lighting is going to be less. If the lighting's less, the energy is off, right? This is important. So we pay attention to it. And then last but not least, to just give you an example of how much I pay attention to the environment is, holding the event last week, I held a dinner in the evening time. And the dinner was for a group of about 40 people that I'm leading and training to become agency owners on our platform. And I'm working with these 40 champions, and I'm also hosting this entire event. So I had been up early in the morning. I went to bed really late the night before because I'm hosting the entire event, but I knew I had this dinner. I also knew that I was going to be completely exhausted hosting the dinner. And so one of my assistants, because my assistant knows I normally like private rooms, she got a private room at the restaurant. And I told her, no. I specifically want a room with everyone else in the restaurant. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, you don't want a private room? You always do private rooms. I said, I know that normally I want a private room, but I specifically asked for this restaurant because I wanted to be in the environment of the restaurant, because I wanted to use the energy of the restaurant to keep the energy of the dinner high without me having to do it. Because I know as a leader, my energy affects everyone else. And so if I know I'm going to be exhausted because of this event, I strategically plan the dinner in a place with high energy. So that way I wasn't responsible for generating the energy. The restaurant would help generate the energy. So once again, it's just paying attention to your energy. It's paying attention to what takes it, paying attention to what gives it, and paying attention to the environment and the culture. Because if the culture and the environment helps create the energy, that means that you don't have to deplete so much of your energy to create a strong environment, because the culture is already doing it for you. The environment's already doing it for you. And so these are 7 things that you can do to protect your energy and improve your energy. I promise you, if you can start paying attention to this, you will thrive and you will succeed in business. I also want you to know that every single time you feel like your tank is completely empty, you're only at about 40% and you have 60% left in the reserves, you have 60% left in the tank. Empty the dang tank. Go after your goals, go after your dreams, and watch how incredible of a business and your team you can build. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next week on the Leaders Only podcast. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's